Model 3 wins a Motor Trend battle of another kind. Tesla is in an interesting court battle, and I found a Model 3 far from Fremont today. Despite being under the weather quite a bit, this is your Tesla Tidbits episode number 330 for December 5th, 2017. We start the night at Motor Trend, where fresh off of being snubbed for the Outlet's Car of the Year award, the Model 3 finds itself being compared to its contemporaries, the second-gen Leaf and the Chevy Bolt. The setup of the comparison sees three EV veterans comparing and contrasting the cars, and comes out with a rather odd conclusion in my book. Patrick Hong and Alec Brooks both preferred the Bolt as the number one car, and yet the Model 3 ended up carrying the day despite only Kim Reynolds giving it the nod at number one. Reynolds' glowing praise included quotes such as, quote, "The Model 3 leans into the future with a reckless glee you cannot avoid noticing," end quote, as well as, quote, "You may need to talk yourself into a Bolt or Leaf. You need to talk yourself out of paying the premium for this Model 3," end quote. Both Brooks and Hong's opinions said nothing of the Model 3 directly, and Hong's in particular made it tough to recognize if the Bolt was the choice there or the Leaf. I'd be curious to see the rubric that they used to decide the winner. The article as a whole was fairly full of praise for the Model 3. It's just the conclusions that ended up being a touch odd. Regardless, this article is plenty worth the read, so go check it out. Over to Electrek now, where Tesla finds itself in court. This is nothing new, except it's the first time to my knowledge that it's about to be heard before the Supreme Court, which here in the U.S. is the highest court in the land. This isn't likely what you think it's about, though. While I'm sure thoughts about franchise law are in most of your heads, this is actually a lawsuit over utility rate hikes and whether Tesla, or anyone, can sue the utility on antitrust grounds. Tesla claims that Salt River Project, a utility in Arizona, is acting in a monopolistic manner due to a crushing rate hike enacted only for solar panel owners. Tesla argues that because solar owners can't go completely off the grid, they cannot avoid SRP's penalty. According to Tesla, this equates to a $600 per year increase, or about 65% over the previous rate. Non-solar owners saw an increase of an average of 3.9% comparatively. The lawsuit says, quote, "Customers recognize that SRP's new pricing plan leaves them with no choice. After the effective date of SRP's new plan, applications for distributed solar energy systems in SRP's territory fell by 96%, end quote. SRP initially said they couldn't be sued due to the fact that they're a state-regulated agency. However, two courts have already disagreed, and now we stand at the top awaiting a decision from the court with the ultimate say. Despite having one of the best possible climates for solar power, Arizona residents only powered themselves with 1.8% solar power in the last year. Something sure seems amiss for sure. I'll keep you updated as we learn more. Lastly today, one of the few times I actually get to be my own source. I wanted to stop by the Lyndhurst Tesla store here in Northeast Ohio today because I wanted to attempt to connect to the Tesla service Wi-Fi from the outside of the store, as some believe this is a surefire way to get the latest firmware updates pushed to your car. As I've been stuck back on 2017.42 for some time, I wanted to get a firmware push to pick up the Easy Entry Exit feature. While I failed at that, I absolutely succeeded elsewhere. After being unable to pick up sufficient signal, I decided to go into the store to ask service a couple questions about my car. The service tech ended up taking me into the service garage to point some things out to me on a car sitting in the garage. And there sat a silver Model 3 awaiting delivery prep. I kid you not, I let out an audible gasp. After allowing my technician friend to explain to me the answers to the questions I now really couldn't possibly care any less about, I asked if I could have a look at the car. A flat no was the unsurprising response. I appealed again, saying I just wanted a good look, and I didn't even want to open it, but alas, no progress. I then asked if it was for a customer or for demo purposes, and he said that it was in fact a customer car. The only thing that I was able to get a good glimpse of is that they hadn't even yet peeled the protective film off the center screen. So there's my brush with fame for the day, and thankfully we have some proof that deliveries are moving well east. Now, as a Redditor noted after I posted this there, this is very likely still an employee car, but still encouraging to see that a car is being delivered so far from the factory. Make sure you check out the links to the full stories in the show description. While you're at it, check out the Patreon at patreon.com/Tesla Tidbits. Thanks as always to all my super patrons for supporting the show at the $10 plus level. They are John Waltower, Drew Schuyler, John Waller, Mark and Sarah Thomas, Ryan Scarborough, Lee Sweet, William Henry Crew III, Dorian Steve Guberman, Bruno Quindici, John Rich, Joey Boots, and Ralph and Cheryl Waterhouse. Be sure to show your love on YouTube, iTunes, and other services across the internet, or use the show referral code TS.LA/JON4602 if you're in the market for a new Tesla. It's good for free supercharging for the life of the vehicle. That's it for today. If you have feedback for me, the best way to be heard is to tweet at Tesla Tidbits. I'll see you back here again tomorrow, hopefully feeling a little better. Until then, keep it charged and hit the road.